It is Darren Waller, who you mentioned before. I mean, he's had this kind of banana type ADP where he started up around the 70s, then dropped all the way down as the Giants kept adding more and more pass catchers and things kind of like there wasn't any hype through that period. And then as soon as training camp hits and he's just mossing defenders constantly, he's the only really tall attacking option for the Giants. So it's kind of jumped up. And it feels kind of warranted to an extent. But now, like, he's going at pick 60 on Underdog, pick 65 on Sleeper. He's averaged 7.5 targets per game over the last 4 years. I know Josh Norris, your co-host on Underdog Fantasy, he's really high on him. Are you as high as Josh is?
No, I'm not. But I've been wrong this entire offseason on him. To me, I was looking at, I didn't think that he was moving as well last year. He didn't force a single missed tackle. He's missed some time. He's a little bit on the older side. And things have kind of always been up in the air with Darren Waller. Now, ever since that, he has been healthy this entire training camp. The reports have been fantastic. I trust Brian Daboll completely. Obviously, the wide receiver group is a work in progress over there. So, to me, this is the most boom bust tight end in all of fantasy. If you want to play that game in best ball, I think that makes a lot of sense. On some of the other default rankings, like on ESPN and Yahoo, he goes even a little bit later than this. So I am fine with him in those formats. I have not been drafting him at all on Underdog so far. That scares me, but really just comes down to I believe he's going to be a beast whenever he's out there. Will it last? That's an unknowable thing, but I do think that he has some of the higher odds of picking up some kind of nagging injury just based off of his age and injury history.
Yeah, it just didn't seem like a good season for him on and off the field last year with the Raiders. I mean, Derek Carr was kind of suggesting that he thought that Waller wasn't playing through injuries he should play through. Josh McDaniels, the two of them didn't seem to particularly get on. So it feels like the right time for a fresh start for him. But do you feel like he's kind of landed in a spot where he's correctly valued now? Because he's kind of hopping ahead of Kittle, he's hopping ahead of Pitts. Are you okay with that?
I am. Kittle's also just as old as Waller, and he's dealing with the same injury as he had last year, that groin injury. And Kittle's had a little bit of a injury history. And then beyond that, now Brandon Ayuk's in the prime of his career. So now it's I don't feel comfortable extrapolating the George Kittle peak seasons and those elite ceiling games. Now, when you have Christian McCaffrey and peak Brandon Ayuk, I just don't think that's necessarily going to hold up. So yeah, I think I'm more comfortable in rolling the dice on Darren Waller. And then for Kyle Pitts, there's still, I guess, some knee injury risk, but really it's just kind of the offense and how much he'll be utilized. And even if he is being utilized, can Ritter throw an accurate pass to him? So I have Darren Waller as my tight end for in redraft leagues. I'm still undecided on how I should be playing this. I think I like going Mark Andrews or waiting all the way to David Njoku and then grabbing a Luke Musgrave and just seeing what happens with that kind of tier. But I would not blame anybody for buying into the hype on Darren Waller. Brian Daboll is going to make him an X receiver, and he will get fed a bunch of targets early on.
Yeah, I think that's a really key point, particularly if you're looking at redraft. His consistency is probably going to be much easier to rely on in redraft leagues than George Kittle or Kyle Pitts.